Just now we learned that nitrogen fixation is done by rhizobium bacteria, which converts atmospheric nitrogen into a form that can be used by the plants. So then how does the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remain constant at about 78%? So we need to understand this by nitrogen cycle. So nitrogen fixing bacteria convert atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms such as nitrates and ammonia. So remember children, so here nitrogen fixing bacteria will convert the atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms that in types of two, that is nitrates and ammonia. So plant absorb the nitrogen compounds from the soil through their roots, isn't it? When animals eat these plants, what happens? The nitrogen compounds are passed into their bodies. When plants and animals die, what happens? Bacteria and fungi decompose them. They will decay the plant and their remains and release the nitrogen compound back into the soil. There are certain bacteria in the soil which convert the part of nitrogen compounds into nitrogen gas. That is nitrifying bacteria. So these bacteria is that denitrify the soil in this way are said to be nitrifying bacteria or denitrifying bacteria. So next what happens? The nitrogen gas formed goes back into the atmosphere. This keeps the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere constant. Thus, nitrogen keeps circulating in various forms in the atmosphere and in the ecosystem. So you need to know what is ecosystem. What is ecosystem? It is a combination of both living and non-living components, that is biotic as well as abiotic. So this circulation of nitrogen in various forms in nature is called nitrogen cycle. Here you could see nitrates as well as ammonia, isn't it? So various forms, it appears, nitrogen appears in various forms in the nature, that is said to be nitrogen cycle. Next benefit is helping the environment. See, this microorganism even help the environment. Like how? So the most significant role played by the microorganisms like bacteria and fungi is the decomposition of organic remains and waste materials on the earth. Whenever the living organism die, what happens after few months or few years? It will decay. So who is going to decompose them? None other than microorganism. It may be fungi, bacteria, or some worms. Okay, so we don't want to include worms here because it is not microorganism. We can consider only fungi and bacteria for right now, isn't it? These microorganisms are responsible in decaying the dead organisms. In this process, they help in maintaining the balance in nature. So without this saprophytic bacteria, what is saprophytes now? I explained this in the beginning class. Saprophyte or saprotropes are nothing but the organism which feed on dead and decaying matter, isn't it? So without these saprophytic bacteria, how could you imagine the world? Okay, so the remains of dead organisms and plants would not decay and heaps of waste would accumulate all around us, isn't it? If consider an organism is dead, for example, any living organism is dead on the earth and there are no saprophytic bacteria is helping them to decay. So what happens? So all these living organisms which are dying, so it doesn't decompose at all and it will be around us with a stinking smell, isn't it? So here the microorganism which decay the dead organism are said to be nature's scavengers. Okay, you call it as nature's scavengers. So the bacteria present in the soil will break down the compounds found in a organic waste materials into simpler mineral substances. So whenever human die, okay, So after the completion of lifespan, the human die, and what we do, we bury them in a soil. Why do we bury them in a soil? Because there are numerous number of bacteria, fungi present in the soil, which helps them to decay. Okay. So the microorganism does enrich the soil. So once after decaying the living organism, what happens? It will give a rich nutrient to soil. Okay, the remains of that organism will enrich the soil with lot of minerals. These minerals can once again be used by plants and animals. They again use. So if you grow plants on that soil, the plant will grow healthy, isn't it? So by utilizing all the minerals, and also it is utilized by animals again, because animals going to consume that plants. So during this natural recycling process, the saprophytic bacteria release carbon dioxide. When the process is going on, they release carbon dioxide into the air, which is an essential substance for the growth of plants and consequently for the survival of all living things. These bacteria are called nature's recyclers. So here two parts you studied. One is nature's scavengers and another is nature's recyclers. Okay. So this is one of the uh, benefit. And also some bacteria eat oil and are therefore used to help clean up oil spills in oceans. So there are few bacteria which is there in the water, which helps in cleaning the oil. So if, like there is a transport of oils in ships, what happens while there is a transport of oils in ships and all? So by chance the oil may spill into the sea or ocean. So what this bacteria do is they clean up all the oils which is there in the ocean. So that is one of the benefit. And also biodegradable and non-biodegradable substances, you people know it. So microorganisms are responsible in case of biodegradable. Okay, so the action of microorganisms play important role in case of degradable, biodegradable. So for that, we have an activity. I'll discuss this activity in the live session that everyone will going to perform it. Okay, children. These microorganisms are widely used in the field of medicines, like production of insulin, antibiotics, vaccines. Okay, you people have come across these terms. Polio drops, and we often take antibiotics when we face bacterial infection, and also insulin is widely used for diabetic patients, isn't it? So let us see this benefits from microorganisms. So first is production of insulin. So we know that there are some bacteria which are used to produce synthetic insulin, and it is a hormone. Insulin is said to be a hormone that controls the level of sugar in the blood. So in a healthy person, insulin is released by the pancreas. Where exactly these pancreas are present, located? So pancreas are located underneath of stomach. When we study this digestive system, you have come across pancreas, isn't it? This pancreas will secrete insulin in case of healthy person. So a person who is suffering from diabetes, he need to take this insulin on a daily basis because they won't be having ability to secrete insulin. Okay. Next is production of antibiotics. First, you need to know what is antibiotics. Antibiotics are the substance used to produce by the organism that kill or inhibit the growth of other microorganisms. See, for example, we have a bacterial infection and that bacteria is very harmful to us. And we need to kill them. We need to stop their growth in our body when it has infected us. So what we do is we take in antibiotics in the form of tablets, and these antibiotics will go and fight against this harmful microorganism which have infected us. Okay, so that is one of the usefulness of microorganism. And next is the first life-saving antibiotic was penicillin. Which was that antibiotic, children? It was penicillin. First antibiotic discovered was penicillin. So it was discovered by the scientist, that is Alexander Fleming. So he obtained this penicillin from the fungus named as penicillium in the year 1928, and it saved the lives of millions of people with bacterial infection. So there are few antibiotics named as amoxicillin, tetracycline, erythromycin. So these are some antibiotics are commonly used in the form of antibiotics, and these are obtained from fungi to destroy diseases causing microbes. These antibiotics are also used to control bacterial diseases in case of plants and animals as well. And about scientists, I'll be explaining in detail in the live session. So there are some precautions be taken with antibiotics. Is antibiotics should be taken only on the advice of qualified doctor. We can't go and we can't take tablets with our own prescription. Okay, it should be suggested by a qualified doctor. One should complete the course prescribed by the doctor. So doctor will suggest you people to take for few days. So that has to be followed particularly. And antibiotics should be taken in correct doses as specified by the doctor. Okay, so we should not take more than the dose given by the doctor. Okay, so taking antibiotics in incorrect dose may make them less effective. Okay, so we want to take in the same dose which our doctor has suggested. We can't exceed the dose because it may leads to side effects. Avoid taking antibiotics when not needed. So when there is no need of taking antibiotics unnecessarily. So unnecessarily taking antibiotics may kill the beneficial bacteria which is there in the body. So there are a lot of useful microorganisms that is present in our body. If we take these antibiotics unnecessarily, what happens? It may kill that useful bacteria which is there in our body as well. Okay. Next useful is production of vaccines. So you people have come across this polio drops when you were at the age of 10 years or 9 years. So up to 10 years you people have taken this polio drops, isn't it? So why we need to take this vaccine? So polio drops are nothing but vaccines. Why we are taking in prayer? So to protect ourselves from many diseases, we take this polio drops. For example, measles, mumps, tuberculosis, diphtheria, polio, tetanus, and hepatitis B are some of the diseases against which vaccines are available. And you can ask your mother if you are got done with this vaccines. Okay, she will tell you people. So how many vaccines she had help you guys to take with. Okay. So the human body has a wonderful mechanism of protecting itself from the dangers of microbes. And the moment the body is attacked by microbes, our immune system starts producing substance called antibodies. And these antibodies are said to be like a soldiers. They fight against harmful diseases. Okay. These antibodies are there within ourselves whenever we are infected, whenever we are affected with diseases with microorganism, these antibodies they fight against them like a soldiers. Okay, these antibodies help in fighting with the invading microbes. Okay, once the antibodies are formed, they remain in the body either permanently or for a short duration. We can't predict that. If the body gets invaded by the same microbes again, so what do these antibodies do? Which are already present in the blood, they recognize the microbes and they kill them. Okay, so development of vaccine is based on this ability of our body to develop antibodies. And what is vaccine, children? Vaccine is a suspension of weakened or dead disease causing microbes that is administered to prevent a disease. So your vaccine is taken to avoid any diseases in future. Okay, to prevent from diseases. And vaccines for tuberculosis, that is said to be BCG, which contains weakened germs. And also this vaccine for typhoid is made from killed germs. Some vaccines are injected while others are given orally. So some vaccines are injected through syringes. Some are like given in the form directly, like polio drops and all. And So these are one of the benefits, production of vaccines, and also smallpox. So this was developed by Edward Jenner. The vaccine for smallpox was developed by Edward Jenner. Smallpox has been totally eradicated as a result of worldwide vaccination program. Pulse polio is another program taken up at the national level to wipe out polio completely, isn't it? So these are the widely beneficial microorganism in the field of medicines. So very important part. This we will discuss one day in a live session. So only about medicines we'll discuss. As I said just now, there are useful bacteria in human body. Let us look into that benefit. So a healthy person is actually colonized by bacteria on the skin and inside the body. So we have microorganisms everywhere, even on our body as well as within our body. But they are very friendly to us. They are useful to us. Certain types of bacteria, they live in the intestines of human beings. And they also help in the digestion and also in destroying the harmful organism. Whenever we consume food, so the bacteria may enter through food. So when it enters through food, what happens? There are bacteria within ourselves which fight against that bacteria and they kill them. Okay, intestinal bacteria also produce some vitamins required by the human body. There are some bacteria which is there in the intestine which produce vitamins to us. Okay, and there is one particular bacteria named as Lactobacillus acidophilus. So you can see it in a picture how this bacteria look like. Lactobacillus acidophilus bacteria in the digestive tract. It is present in the digestive tract in digestion, which synthesizes vitamins and degrade toxins. If there is any toxic in our food or in the thing what we eat, so it will degrade the toxin. Degrade means it will break down the toxin. Okay, so this is one of the benefits of useful bacteria that is present within the human body. So children, here I have completed the topic about useful bacteria and fungi as well as algae. So wasn't it interesting thing to know about useful bacteria in a wide range of fields like medicines, baking industries, as well as useful bacteria within us. And also these microorganisms are so useful to the environment. So now we could see the good face of microorganisms, isn't it? So they are very friendly and very useful to us. So this is about the concept useful microorganism. Let us see in the next class about the harmful microorganism. Okay, children. So worksheet will be sent along with this video. Do solve it and have a good day.